Public finally gets to see the entire Doge team, and they are nothing short of phenomenal. This is absolutely amazing. The young geniuses a part of Doge put everything on the line, risking their lives. They're getting death threats. They even dropped out of Harvard to help save this country. The millionaires and billionaires that have reached the peak of success have put their companies to the side to help save this country. As we know, Elon Musk has put everything on the line, including losing 70% of his net worth to help save this country. This meeting is incredible with Jesse Waters. We even get to meet the infamous Big Balls, the incredible genius young kid that is part of the Department of Government Efficiency. Wait until you see this. Let's jump right into it.
They were renting Caesar's Palace.
Yes, they were like basically partying on the taxpayer money.
Stadiums.
Yes.
Leasing stadiums.
Leasing stadiums.
For what?
For parties, basically.
For parties.
Yes.
That's a big party.
It's a big party.
You'd think if you were stealing, you'd start small.
They do start small. But then what happens is over the years, so generally the fraud starts out small and they try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud, it gets more and more brazen. And every year it gets bigger until they're literally renting out stadiums.
What's that, $1 million to rent out a stadium?
Fraud in flagrante delicto, okay? We're talking at scale.
This is driving me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When you find these things, do you guys get mad? You're like, yes, I got one. How does it make you feel?
It's so common.
It's so common.
You're like used to it.
I mean, you just
get numb to it.
Unfortunately, like the 100th time you've heard it, it's hard not to get a little numb.
Yeah.
You know, but and by the 200th time, you're like, well, okay, it's just another day at the office.
Do you guys feel you're getting justice and accountability?
One of the, I think, extreme examples of non-accountability in some cases has occurred at some of the small agencies. I think the Inter-American Foundation, IAF, is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. Improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Fruit jam. Yes.
What? Yeah.
So you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What we find exactly, I mean, to Ethan's example is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, well, actually, most of the money never made it out of D.C. Mm-hmm. It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
What percentage?
And they didn't even get to Peru.
Right. So what percentage do you think doesn't even get to the destination it's supposed to?
I believe the GAO estimates, this is not our estimate, I believe it was on the order of only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar actually gets to the end recipient, whether you agree with that cause or not.
So they're just stealing the money before it even gets anywhere.
There's layers of stealing.
What has been the biggest resistance? Is there one agency, is there one department that when you guys walk in, they all start fighting you, start hiding things?
I thought you weren't going to talk.
I'm sorry.
But I guess you can answer that question. Sure. I mean, let's. Yes, we've certainly had some battles.
Battles.
Yeah. I mean, who should talk about Yusuf?
Nate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jesse, there's an agency, a small agency called the United States Institute of Peace. It's definitely the agency we had the most fight at. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters. Institute for Peace.
I mean, any given company, any given organizational name is going to be kind of be the opposite of the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was by far the least peaceful agency that we've worked with, ironically.
Of course.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets, and they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban. This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was the money going to the Taliban for?
So as a contractor, they received $130,000 for generic services. And to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
Was it for opium
unclear.
or weapons
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
or a bribe?
Or yeah, nothing.
And you naturally have to ask the question, well, how did we get here? Like when the country was founded, there were only 4 agencies. Today there are over 400. So there's been a 100x increase in the number of agencies since the founding of the nation. And thanks to President Trump, he's now signed 2 executive orders to start to reduce the number of agencies in the government, and the Institute of Peace was one of them, which is why our team went in to try and understand what was going on. And that's when we found all of the craziness, like the weapons in their armory. We found the payments to the Taliban.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
They try to hide the evidence.
Right, so just a few hours after we got into their headquarters, we found that their chief accountant had actually deleted over 1 terabyte of accounting records from several years. So you'd have to ask the question, well, why would somebody do that? The Doge team, fortunately, was able to recover that data with the help of a few great employees at the Institute of Peace. And I think the most troubling thing was they received $55 million a year from Congress, and any money that went unspent, instead of returning that to Congress, they would sweep it into a private bank account, which had no congressional oversight. And that's what they would use to fund things like events at their headquarters and the private jets. And so I think it's a great example because most Americans don't know what's going on at a lot of these smaller agencies. And this is, I think, the most extreme case of some of the wasteful spend that we're finding.
So the agencies are hiding money from you. They're sending it to the Taliban. They have loaded weapons in the department buildings.
At the Institute of Peace.
At the Institute of Peace.
Yes.
That's right.
So this is a cover-up when you guys roll in.
This one, yes, they cover up. Yes.
It's a cover-up.
They did delete a vast amount of financial information. That's really a definition of a cover-up.
Isn't that illegal to delete evidence?
Yes.
Shred documents?
It is. It's certainly illegal to delete accounting records that that Congress would certainly want to know where the congressionally appropriated funds are going from taxpayers.
When you catch them going Hillary style on their computers, do you refer this to the Department of Justice?
In this case, we did refer the evidence in the accounting example to the FBI and DOJ, and we were proud to do that. So yes, we did.
Who's big balls?
It's me.
That should be obvious.
Why do they call you big balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
Well, people on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously, and they're pretty adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
Yeah.
So what do you
LinkedIn
do?
is so cringe.
What does Big Balls do?
Right now, I'm working on some payment computer stuff. So one of our initiatives is to root out fraud and waste. And to do that, we started looking at the payment computers. And as mentioned earlier, like there is no accounting of what payments actually go to in the payment computer. So like you look at a specific line item, like $20 million. And you're like, okay, well, what is this money going to? And for the majority of payment systems, it's like, well, we don't really know. And
Yeah, they're like, what? That would be the response.
Is this the most basic responses?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the most common response.
What do you say when people just say, I don't know?
Well, it's a huge cause for concern because like the upstream thing, which is distributing the money, literally has no checks and no accountability to the actual American taxpayer. So it's a huge vector for fraud, waste, and abuse.
Do these people not respect taxpayer money?
I mean, there's no incentive to if you work in the government. I think the incentives will always decide the outcomes.
Yes.
Do you guys feel like you're putting yourself at risk by doing this because you're stirring up so much hostility by these people ripping us off?
100%. Well, we don't need to speculate about that. You can see online in the protests that they make that very clear. I mean, I've been hanged in effigy many times. And there have been people that have actively advocated at these violent protests for my death, and have also advocated for the death of the people at Doge.
I think the young folks of us have
gotten email, threats from reporters and the public alike. I think, speaking for myself, I dropped out of Harvard and came here to serve my country. And it's been unfortunate to see, lost friendships. Most of campus hates me now. But I think fundamentally, I hope people realize through conversations like this that reform is genuinely needed. And if there's one, I think this is important to say, if there's one group of people who really have a shot of success, it's the people here. They're up until 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday. Doge does not recognize weekends. We're working all the time.
What inspired you to drop out of Harvard to do this?
There's a lot of reform that's needed. I think the value of this and the impact here is so much more vast than anything you could learn in a classroom doing computer science.
And you guys are sleeping here, I'm hearing. You guys are up all night. You have this meeting at 10 o'clock every Wednesday?
We'll probably go back to work right after this.
Yeah.
You're going back to work after this?
Yes.
Right.
It's almost 11 o'clock.
So that's early.
It's early? We love the collaboration. So thank you guys. Thanks for allowing me this access in here. You guys are just really, really bright, young, smart patriots. And you have a great team. And thank you, Elon, for everything you've done for the country. We really appreciate it. We're eternally grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are true American heroes. Everyone in that room, they have all reached very high levels of success. Every single one of them has reached the pinnacle of success. And especially for the young guys, they're just getting started. After they do this with the Department of Government Efficiency, can you imagine their resume? They can charge $1 million or any amount to come make any business more streamlined. They'll forever be successful. And who knows, they might go on to do something even more amazing than this. I'm sure they will. And to all the other people in there, all the millionaires and billionaires that put their companies to the side, who helped save this country by finding waste, fraud, and abuse in our government, everyone deserves a round of applause. Thank you all. Thank all of you guys for doing this for us. These people are amazing. These are the kind of people Americans need to look up to. Not your athletes and your singers and all these people that are doing this nonsense just to keep you entertained. These are the people that you need to be like. These are the people that inspire me, and I hope they inspire you as well. You guys drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about this. This is phenomenal. Shout out to Jesse Waters and Fox News for getting an in-depth meeting with everybody from the Doge team. Thank you, Elon Musk, Doge, and everyone that's trying to save this country. Love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. You're watching the Unexplained Outlook. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.